Hello good people, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Nikita Kazakov. I am a product manager at LMKR. Today we're going to have a series on planning wells with GVERSE Planner in smartSECTION. So let us get started. We're going to create a well, then we're going to plan the well along a target surface, and we're going to end up visualizing the well in Pro 3D. Finally, in the end, we're going to have a question and answer session. So let's talk about the tools. What are we going to use today? Three important tools. First, smartSECTION, which is a geomodeling application. Second is the GVERSE Planner to plan those wells. And third is to tie everything together and see everything in one cohesive 3D scene. All these tools are integrated together. To get it into a little bit of more detail, smartSECTION displays live 3D geomodel surfaces. In fact, we're going to use cross-sections within the smartSECTION module in order to plan these wells. Now, the GVERSE Planner gives us a couple of options. First, you can create well deviation surveys with it. You can use dogleg severity constraints in order to constrain that well properly. And finally, the hard thing, the geoprognosis reports. Well, GVERSE Planner generates that for you automatically. Then we'll move on to Pro 3D. Pro 3D is great because it is a 3D visualization of wells, surfaces, seismic, but we're not limited to just that. But that is what we're going to view today. Pro 3D is a big application, and it could take 2 hours for me to explain all the things it can do, including microseismic and formations and fence diagrams. But for our purposes, we'll keep it simple today. Let's get to the demo. What are we going to do today? Well, we're going to start out by planning the well, then we'll create a survey for that well, and finally visualize everything in a 3D scene. Look, it's simple, it's repeatable, it's fast, and that is what we're looking for when we're planning our well. We have our Project Explorer ready and running. From here, we can activate smartSECTION right over here. We're looking at a map of the Barnett Shale in Texas. Let us zoom in a little bit closer. We see a satellite image. And as I zoom in a little bit closer, you'll notice that we already have two wells planned on the bottom. Well 8 and well 9. They're emanating from these pads. Now our goal is to go ahead and continue planning these wells that are on top, right over here, that are located on these pads. So let's go ahead and do that. The first thing we do is realize that we have these wells already created in the database. We don't have to create them. I will show you how to do that, but after I show you how to create the deviation surveys. So let's go ahead and do that. We click cross-section, we click define projected, go ahead and put that define projected cross-section, right-click, select the well. Well, I want to select well number 5 over here. Right-click and say end definition. Perfect, we have our cross-section. I'm going to go into templates and select my web demo template. Remember, you can save templates in smartSECTION. I will zoom in a little bit closer, and you'll notice I have all of my layers, these formation layers that I'm looking for, specifically this Barnett target surface. Great. At this point, I'll go back to wells. I'll right-click on the well and say plan a well using GVERSE Planner. Once I'm here, start putting those target points in. That's it. Once you start putting these target points in, you'll notice that GVERSE Planner pops up automatically for you, and you have several tabs on top. You actually have 5 tabs to work with. And what you'll notice is you have your surface point, your kickoff point, your landing point, your bottom hole locations, and all the points in between. So I can zoom in using my scroll wheel, and you'll see that as I was putting those points in, they also align in this view as well. Now, before I get into a little bit more detail, let me show you how to do this from scratch, because some of you folks are asking, this is great, Nikita, but what if I want to put a well into the database? Well, how do I do that and then go from there? Good question. In fact, let's go ahead and explore that. I'm going to minimize this, and I will open up GeoAtlas. You'll see the map opened up, and I will zoom in on this area right over here. In fact, in my layer, I will activate the well-based layer that's currently active, the new wells too. Alright, once it's active, go ahead and right-click wherever it is you want to place that well. Well, I want to use this empty pad. Right-click, and then click on Add New Well to Database. And then select that location, right there. Perfect. And for this, I'm going to give it an ID of 10. For well name, I'm going to say Lewis, well ID, well number, 10, and operator, I'll put shell. Click Save. Now if you go ahead and open up your well base, it'll say, would you like to refresh the manager? Say yes, because your database has just changed. And you'll notice when you open it up, in this list, you'll find well 10. By the way, well base is this little icon right here. Alright, so over here, for total depth, I'll put 0 because there is no depth. Datum elevation, 1,000 feet in this location. And I will save this well. It's good to go. Now what we should do is update this layer. To do that, right-click on the new well 2 and say Update Layer. And click OK. And there you go. There's your new well, number 10. Let me turn it off in GeoAtlas, and I will go back into smartSECTION. I will right-click on the GeoAtlas layers, say Select Layer, and I will reselect that layer again. And you'll notice when I did that, the new well shows up. So now we can use that well and we can start planning wells with it. Let's go ahead and do that. Once again, cross-section, define projected, go ahead and give it a projected line of cross-section, right-click and say Select Wells. I will select this well and say End Definition. Zoom out. Now, I'm actually using a template to make things a little prettier with the formations. There we go. And now I have my wells. If you click back on the Wells tab, I have this well right here. I will right-click and say Plan Well with GVERSE Planner. And I'm going to plan it along the Barnett target surface in smartSECTION. There we go. 4 target points ought to be good. I can zoom out and you'll see that the well goes from the surface all the way through my points. Now if I want to make modifications, there's a couple of ways I can do that. One is by pressing Tab within this window, clicking on a point, and then moving the point. And you'll notice it actually moves. You can also select the point, right-click and say Delete Target Points, and it'll delete it. Now the other way is go to your taskbar and open up GVERSE Planner. It was actually running in the background. With GVERSE Planner opened up, you'll notice that your wells are on the left-hand side, well 10, and let's go ahead and go through the tabs right now. You start off with the Edit tab. The Edit tab has some pertinent information here, has your well name, your well number, the operator we selected. We can even go ahead and put the permit date and the estimated spud date into here if we want, and it'll update in the database. Now we have target points. All these target points are editable as well using this pencil tool. There's an easier way to do this. You can go into the Calculate tab and you'll have 2 views, the vertical section and the plan view. In the vertical section, you have your surface, kickoff, landing, and bottom hole locations right there for you. In the green is the well trajectory. You can go ahead and zoom in and zoom out using the scroll keys. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and as I make changes by picking up any of these target points, those changes will automatically reflect back in my cross-section right over here. That's where the integration comes from. In addition, whenever I'm moving my points, you'll notice that I will hit a snag. You see this little red line? Well, that means my survey is not valid. It's not technically feasible. Why? Because I violated my dogleg severity restrictions. Ah, where do you edit those? Well, they're on the bottom over here. You have your approach dogleg severity, which is from the surface all the way to the landing point, and then you have your lateral dogleg severity, which is from the landing point to the bottom hole location. So let me move this back to where it's feasible. either move it back or modify these. Alright, and then you have the plan view. So at this point, I'll go into the preliminary 3D view. This is not Pro 3D. This is just to get an idea of how the well is going to look like. It looks fine. We will go into survey. All of this survey information that you see here can then be put into Microsoft Excel, where you can manipulate it and use it in any way you want. You can also run your own macros. This way it makes it really flexible to take information out of here. Now finally, geoprogs. You're going to have to hand this off to the drillers, and they're going to require that. Geoprogs, that's the intersection of the well bore trajectory and the formation tops. Alright, so over here we see exactly that. Here are all the formation tops that are being intersected. See them right over here, the well is passing through. Although you don't see the formations here, they are actually being intersected right here. So go back to geoprogs, go ahead and select the formation that you have associated with the well name. I'm sorry, not the well name, but the formation name. So for this, we have M, LS, and once you do that, you can click Save to Database. This is cool. Here's why. You save it to the database. Now I can click on well 10 here, and I can click on the Formations tab. Voila! They all get saved in the Formation tab under the source of geoprog. That's pretty nifty right there. The other option that you have is to go ahead and export all of this information into an Excel sheet, and then you can take the information out of there as you need it. That's it. That's the whole process. You can go ahead and you can save this cross-section. There are more things you can do with this cross-section. You can put Seismic around it. Don't forget, smartSECTION is a full-fledged application in itself. But for this webinar, we're just focused on simple well planning. Let's go ahead and quickly plan another well really quickly just to show how it could be done. Cross-section, define projected, put the projected line, select well number 7, end definition, make it big. I'm going to select this lovely template right over here. Let us zoom in. Oh, too much zooming. There we go. Select the well, plan the well, start selecting the points. That's really about it. And then you see the results right on the map for you. In fact, let me save this cross-section as cross-section number 7. Cool. Once you have these wells planned out, let's go ahead and take a look at them in a 3D view. This is the cool thing. Pro 3D is also integrated with GVERSE Planner and smartSECTION. In fact, we've already created a container where we can view our wells. Simply, if you want to create a new container, you can just click Create 3D Region, and you can select the region you want to view on the map by dragging a box. But since I already have one created for me, I'm just going to select the existing one and say Display in 3D. And here we go. It just loaded up for us. Now you can see in the tree we have the wells, we have the surfaces, we have the image layer. Let's get rid of the image layer and we will turn on the Barnett target surface. It's actually already on. So, as we take a look from the top, we see the same exact image as we saw on the map. Let me show you. See these wells? These wells existed, and these are the 3 wells that we have just built ourselves. Let's go back to the map view. 1, 2, 3. They're right there. So I can zoom in closer to them, and in Pro 3D, you'll notice that these wells are going right along this layer. You can also go ahead and drape any other property you want on the layer, since these are all Esri layers. So for example, I'd like to drape the Barnett target surface right on there. And there you go. In addition, let's go ahead and actually show you that these layers, this view is actually editable. So if I select any of these wells, for example, well number 10, and I start to move things around, see that? It moves directly on the 3D side and also in the smartSECTION side, in the cross-section view and in the map view as well. Now you can also use things that are directly within Pro 3D, such as displaying Seismic right around that wellbore to help you better plan your wells. I can go back here. I can move things around. I can move things up and down. And you'll notice the changes reflect on the fly. That's the beauty of it. As I mentioned, we're keeping it very simple here. There's a lot of more things you can do in Pro 3D, such as put log curves on your wells, formation tops, log templates, microseismic, you have zonal data, you have spatial analysis of your production data, you can view your perforations. It's pretty solid 3D application here. For our purposes, folks, we're done. Simple and quick. That's how you plan your wells, using smartSECTION, GVERSE Planner, and visualizing everything in Pro 3D. At this point, the next steps, if you'd like to see this webinar again, you can check out this webinar at this link and also some of our other webinars that we put on there. We also have training available, and more information is available here. And also to request a quote, just email us at products@lmkr.com or contact your regional sales manager. That's it, folks. Thank you for your time, and we will see you next time.